Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Unorthodox Vegan. My name is Sean Gold, and this week, episode 47, we'll be making a black bean and corn salsa. Really simple and easy to make. This recipe comes from the SREG, the Environmental Sustainability Rotary Reaction Group.org. Their 15-day plant-based challenge. This is day 9, I believe. And this one's all about biodiversity. The whole article that day planning for the menu is about biodiversity. And while this this item itself is not necessarily a biodiverse one, it's talking about the problems with eating meat and the challenges that does for biodiversity. So some really interesting facts, which are kind of scary as well. But it said, well, okay, for this recipe, why don't we do something that's really good for your biomass within your own internal biomass and making it diverse. So we're going to do some stuff which is really healthy, including the black beans, which are really, really, really good for your body. So it's really healthy. So I got a can of black beans we're going to be putting in there. I have some fresh corn. It says to put in a cup of frozen corn. And this corn is in season. It's coming out. It's sweet. I'm going, why wouldn't I use that? So I've already scraped off a couple of, about a cup's worth of corn off the ears themselves. It's going to have a half of a red pepper. It's going to be finely chopped. So I got a lot of chopping to do. We're going to have some green onions, and a bunch of green onions. It'll be finely chopped as well. It calls for cilantro. Now, I don't want to get on a rant on this one, but I'm one of those people where cilantro tastes like soap. And I've tried. I have honestly tried. I went for about a week of trying to eat it, and it just could not get my body to accept that it didn't taste like soap. Now, maybe I could have done it for a month and figured it out, but really, do I have to have it? Unfortunately, a lot of people serve cilantro, and a lot of restaurants serve it in their foods. And so I have to go in there and ask, please don't put it on. If it's cooked into it, it usually doesn't get that taste, but when it's fresh cilantro, it has that soapy taste to me. So be mindful of potential guests' reaction to cilantro. So I'm using parsley. It's nice Italian parsley. I'll be putting that in instead of cilantro. And it won't have the same taste, but it will taste a lot better for me. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Let's see, the onions, just a little bit of sea salt, 3 tablespoons of lime juice. I don't have any fresh limes, so I didn't feel like buying any fresh limes, so I have lots of lime juice in the fridge. So I'm using that. A couple of tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, and let's see what else we're going to do. And that's about it. I will be serving it using some tortilla chips. I went to buy corn chips. I went to buy some yesterday at the local store because I forgot to get them at the major supermarket. And all they had was the flavored ones, the big flavored Dorito ones. I said, well, I could go out first thing this morning and pick up some for this episode, but I thought, why don't I just take some tortillas that I have and just toast them up, and that should be fine. They won't be as oily, so it'll be a little healthier. So I thought, why not? We'll do that. Okay, so I got a lot of chopping to do. So all of this stuff's going to go in the bowl, going to go in there together. I got to chop up that green pepper, red pepper, the onions, the parsley. Get that all done. I'll be putting that in. I'll be draining and rinsing the black beans, and then throwing in, as I said, 3 tablespoons of lime juice, 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, a pinch of salt, half a teaspoon of cumin. I don't know if I mentioned that. And that's it. It's real simple. We'll mix it up. Be back in a bit after I've chopped everything up. Well, as you can see, I've chopped up all of the onions, the red pepper, the parsley. So that's all in there. I've drained and rinsed the black beans. Now, just so you know, that I got this much liquid out of the can. I save that liquid because when recipes call for a vegetable stock, I use that. Plus, I use chickpea liquid. I use whatever canned bean liquid I have that's still relatively fresh. I put it in the fridge. Hopefully it lasts a couple of weeks in there. But if I'm going to make a soup and that calls for a soup stock, or if I'm going to use any recipe that calls for a soup stock, I just use those kinds of products. They're great and they give you lots of flavor, and it's free. Otherwise you'd just be throwing it out. So there you go. So I've got that. I'm going to be just adding in some, let's get over here, get a little closer. Be adding in some of the other goodies. So as I said, there is 3 tablespoons of lime juice. Should be fresh lime, but I'm not going to go out and buy a fresh lime if I don't have to, if I've already got the lime juice here in a container. And seeing as how limes don't grow here where I live, I think this is better for the environment, although I don't like the plastic bottles that they come in. I have to figure something out on that. 3 tablespoons of lime juice. It smells delicious. And 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. That's 1. And that's 2. We're going to do that plus a half teaspoon of cumin. And, I'm not a big fan of cumin, but I'm following the recipe. So half teaspoon of cumin going into there. And a pinch of salt is all that's going in there. It's supposed to be sea salt, so I'll just do a quick little dash of pinch. That should be enough. And now just mix it all up. Okay, I think that's nicely mixed up. Let's do a little taste test, see how it goes. So, I've never made this recipe before, so this is a first for me. Okay, so here you go. You can see all of they got corn, we got the red pepper, we got the black beans, and some green onions in there. And of course, got the seasoning in there, the lime juice and the balsamic. So let's see how this goes. Nice, fresh. I'm glad it doesn't have cilantro. Well, not my version of it. Maybe a dash more salt, a little bit more salt. Otherwise, it tastes delicious, absolutely delicious. Not a big fan of the cumin in here, so I probably shouldn't have done as quite as much. Should have gone just a dash of that. Anyway, that's it. Simple recipe. And easy to make in a hurry if you want. Yeah, just have the ingredients at home. Again, it's the black beans. You need to have the can of black beans, which I have a lot of canned stuff in my pantry. I'm kind of a survivalist in that way. I'm not really big on that, but I like to have a lot of canned food around just so because I use it a lot. So I have chickpeas, canned diced tomatoes. I have coconut milk, coconut cream, and some other stuff. So I have like tomato paste and some other things in the cupboard. So those are there just as handy as a backup. Plus, I always got flour and sugar and things like that. So those are things I have around. You can survive on that for a long time if you needed to. There's a lot of things you can make. Anyway, that's a simple recipe. If you'd like to have more information, you can get a hold of me at vrcompanions@gmail.com. Again, this recipe comes from the SREG, the Environmental Sustainability Rotary Reaction Group 15-day trial. So that's the sreg.org. You can go there and check out it. And as always, please follow me on my YouTube channel. That's www.youtube.com/@the_unorthodox_vegan. Until next time, have yourself a great day.